What is everybody? Welcome to the transparency. Welcome. We have our first caller. Uh-oh, no way. No way. Sorry, it took me a couple extra minutes. We're packing a lot of shit over here. Whoa! What a hearing. Woo! Anybody hear what happened in the second hearing? Are they going to open up that IGG for all of us to see? Well, we're going to find out what you guys think about it. Again, I'm taking all of your guys' thoughts tonight, so it's 2 minutes on the mic. I'm using multiple devices, so come on back, Tree Nut. Again, it's pinned for you guys to use. This live starts in Ohio and it ends in Tennessee. That's what somebody told me, so I have no idea. I'm just going with the flow. Again, I pinned your guys' link to hit it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Crazy live hearing. I'm going to play a little bit of it right now. Actually, I'm going to play Payne's part, and it's going to be at 1.5 speed, and I will be stopping it. Go ahead and click that link. It's everything that we thought it was, which is inept / destruction, I believe, of evidence. I believe that Syray made it perfectly clear. I don't think that the device stopped working at the same exact time 4, 5, 6 times. I believe that the crucial data that's missing and it's broken off in a bunch of different pieces and it's everywhere is the crucial data that's missing. Like, so how did you fill out your PCA? It's a bunch of crap. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Mowery saying it's Payne, Payne saying it's Mowery. Now Payne's also saying it's the FBI. I don't think the FBI is going to be too happy about that. But let's take a look. And yes, Santa was very silent. So.
PD for that investigation.
Does case agent mean you're the person in charge?
Yes, ma'am.
If I called you the lead detective, would that be a term that means the same thing as person in charge and
Yes.
case agent?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. What were your general responsibilities as the lead detective in the case?
So when I became a case agent, I was assigned to work the command post that was established at the Moscow Police Department, along with my partners in Idaho State Police and the FBI. We managed the command post and directed the general direction of full investigation.
Would that mean?
All right, so right there, he makes it known to us that there was a command post, guys. This is, so when you guys think of Delphi had, there was, the sheriff's department was involved in that. The superintendent was involved in that. FBI was involved in that. Lafayette. There was multiple people involved in the command center post, okay? So the thing that we didn't get the answer to, which is who was in charge, who is, okay, you're the agent, Payne, and you clearly didn't want that because you say the case agent, not like I'm the lead on this. So he makes it known, FBI and Idaho State Police. So who from the FBI and who from Idaho State Police was nursing you? Okay, had you there because Moscow didn't want to give it up. Okay, so Moscow's going to be involved. And so here we go, it's Payne. Well, there was somebody from the Idaho State Police and there was somebody from the FBI, but this is what you would call command. Now, I've been going over this and over this. who was the person that was saying, hey, this is going to be your duty. Hey, this is what you're going to do. And hey, this is what you're going to do. And then y'all are going to be coming back, obviously, with supplemental reports, duh, because you're going out and getting video. You're going out and interviewing. Like, who's assigning you to go and do that? These people just don't show up to work and say, I'm just going to go wherever I want. And I'm going to investigate or I'm going to interview whoever I want. That's not how this works. Not by a slim margin. So listening to this, wow.
I mean, you would be a person to write warrants and affidavits in support of warrants.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you conduct or direct interviews?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you search for a suspect?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you the go-to person and the person in charge for evidence that would be brought into Moscow Police Department to support your case?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Who's in charge?
That would have been our evidence custodian.
As the lead detective, were you aware of the evidence that would be under the control of the evidence custodian?
Not entirely. I was made aware of basically the most pertinent evidence that was coming in, but I was not aware of every single piece of evidence that was brought into those.
Okay, right there. I was made aware of pertinent evidence. How do you know what would be pertinent evidence? How do you determine what's pertinent and what's not pertinent? Oh, shit, man. When I heard that, I don't have anything to say about that. So you have to deem it that it's not pertinent, you know? So somebody decided before you made that call, like you make that call. Like you're the man. So I don't understand that right there. Okay? I don't understand that. How are you, who's deciding if it's pertinent or not? Who's deciding it? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. During the course of, I guess, the investigation from November 13th forward, was there videos that were collected, like a video canvas done of the community?
Yes, ma'am, there was.
Is that something you were involved in?
No, ma'am, I was not involved in the direct collection of those videos.
Who is responsible for the video collection and knowing what videos exist?
So the way that worked was individual investigators who went out in the community and collected those videos, brought them back to the police department and provided them to our digital forensics office. And then they were later booked in.
All right, let me explain how this works. The Idaho State Police, the way that they operate is they have a briefing session where they're going to have everybody there, wherever they're going to be informing everybody of everything. And your report would be wrote up that you were conducting this briefing session after you got debriefed because if it was passed on to you. And then therefore, everybody that you're bringing in, because they're going to be part of it, would be there at this meeting. Okay. That would, MPD, here we go. We're going to use this big area. And I'm going to explain to everybody what we have on our hands here. And then whoever is in charge is telling people, I instructed this person to go and do this. And how do I know this? Because I physically have the Idaho State Police, all right? I have reports, police reports that show us exactly how this happens. And it's like, that's almost like standard. It's so when he wants to be like so nonchalant here, no, I wasn't involved in that. Well, let me explain something. You may have not been the little like person that went with their little hind legs walking to go grab that shit, but you most certainly were in charge of telling who is going to be doing that. Okay, it's like it's like a coach. It's like a coach who is coaching this team, who is telling them where to go and why you're going there, like what you're supposed to go get. Right? So they say, hey, I need you to go up and down Main Street and go get all these videos. I need you to go to, over by King, and I need you to go and find out every single house that has ring footage or that has a ring so that we can obtain the ring footage. Right? Who's in charge of that? And I thought you were. Just like Mowery said, you're in charge, buddy.
Through that channel.
So the digital forensics office would be the responsible entity to receive these pieces of video surveillance. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I would say it was a dropping off point for those pieces. Yes.
Okay, so then what he's saying here then is his instructions would have been this. Hey guys, whoever I'm sending out, these 10 agents, these 10 people are gonna go canvass. So that means once you go ahead and you get your videos. So how that also would work is this. You go up to somebody's house and you say, hey, I need your Ring camera from this hours to this hours, right? And they're like, okay, you can have it, but I have no idea how to get that to you. How do I get that to you? I have no idea. Like, it's on my phone right now. You just want me to take a bunch of screenshots? What do you want me to do? You want me to like record my phone and like screen record? Like, what do you want me to do? I don't, these are laymen, right? We don't know what we're doing, but yeah, you can have whatever you want. So let's also say that you have a private security system. Okay. That means you have to go and like take somebody's DVR. You have to like, are you taking their shit? Are you getting their password again, their cloud? What are you doing? Are you having them sign waivers? So what's going on here? How are you obtaining this stuff? You just don't go and, so then what I'm getting at is that, are you providing them with a thumb drive? Are you providing them with a hard drive? What are you doing? And then, so he's basically saying though, that these people never came back to him to give him anything. And that these people were then, hey, this is my card. I'm going to call you. You're going to call me or here's a thumb drive. And then you're going to like, when you get it all together, give it, like, come and see me at the police department. And then once I get it, then Payne's basically saying that once I obtained this, then I took it I wrote a report up and then I have it. And then I took it straight to the evidence room. I took it straight to the custodian and I said, here's my evidence that goes with this report.
And who is that person?
That was a joint effort between Detective Mowery and several people within the FBI.
Oh my God.
Which,
you guys, when he said Mowery's name with this, I about fell over. Because you do know what Mowery testified to, right? You guys want me to remind you what Mowery testified to? He said that he had nothing to do with the collecting these videos. Right? He said, wait, I think the exact wording is that he never viewed the videos, so he doesn't know what's on the videos. And yeah. But okay, so basically Mowery's in charge of what, according to Payne? Hey, all these people that are gonna come back and bring these videos here, you're bagging and tagging with the FBI and with the evidence technician court, what?
which people within the FBI?
I do not remember.
Detective Payne, I'm
Wait. He says, I don't remember the people that were working from the FBI that he would have assigned to say, okay, you're in charge with Mowery to stand next to this evidence custodian person and bag and tag stuff. But wait, why would the FBI be standing there and bagging and tagging anything? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, excuse me? Like, explain this. Explain that to me. And Ann Taylor basically calls him out. Ann Taylor says, excuse me?
I'm asking because last week, Detective Mowery told us that he wasn't in charge of these videos. And I need to know where they are. Do you have any idea who the FBI agents are that were also in charge of this?
And we could certainly find that out for you, yes, ma'am. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, well, I'm going to need to do that. Let's talk a little bit.
I have a problem with that. How does he not know off the top of his head who he would have, like, okay, think about it like this. You run a restaurant. You have the back of the house, which is all of your kitchen staff, which is like prepping the food, cooking the food. Then you have the people that are your bartenders, and you have the people that are your servers, and you have the people that are your hosts. Then you have all the vendors that come in, and they're your delivery people. I deal with this person for this type of food. I deal with this person for my alcohol. I deal with this person for beer. I deal with multiple people for beer. You have all these things that you're overseeing. Okay. There was 120 people that supposedly had their hands in this case at one point or another. And they could have been just somebody that was supplied one report. 120 people is a lot of people, right? But it's not. It is, but it's not. Especially if there's only a handful of people that truly did the bulk of it, and the other people were just like, one or two things here or there. For him to say that he does not know these people, and he does not know who did what and when and what, how is that going to fly? If you guys have been following me with the Karen Reed case, we haven't even gotten to, well, we kind of have, like the firefighters and some of the cops. They look like complete idiots, right? In the Karen Reed case, these people that are firefighters and EMTs and the cops, they look like complete fucking idiots. And that's exactly what it's going to be in this case. But here, we haven't even gotten to the lead investigator, which I think is going to look like a lot like Payne had. I don't even know that answer. Well, now I know where Payne got that from. The reason that the chief was saying those things is because that's what they're relaying to the chief. I don't even know that answer. That came from Payne. He doesn't know that answer.
A little bit about what surveillance is out there. These were cameras from different businesses. Is that right?
Told you guys.
Yes, ma'am, as well as some private residences.
Let's focus on the businesses for just a minute. Those would be collected at main points in Moscow where you might find person of interest. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. We canvassed pretty much the entire city of Moscow looking for places that were willing to or could provide us video.
And was it also important to think about if somebody were to come into or leave Moscow, the kind of video cameras you might find on those areas?
Certainly, that's good.
And that would be the east-west road between Moscow and Pullman. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Referring to SR 270/Pullman Road. They wanted that to refer to.
I know that as a Moscow Pullman highway. Yep. I think that's the same thing, or Highway 8.
Works for me.
And that goes from Pullman out towards Troy in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And also important in that video collection would be the north-south Highway 95, the north end of Moscow and the south part of Moscow. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you collected business videos or had that done, but who I need to talk to about this would be Detective Mowery or an unnamed FBI agent. Do I
Or
understand that?
the agents who were the officers, investigators who collected that specific video would have written reports, to the best of my knowledge, stating such that they collected video from X, Y, and Z. That would be the best person to speak to about that particular video.
But if they collected it and gave it to Moscow Police Department or the digital evidence people, isn't it your department that I'd be looking at to say, where is this now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So where is it?
Well, I'm going to talk about some of those specific ones, but you brought up residential cameras in that canvas as well. Are you talking about?
You guys, let me tell you how stupid that sounds. Payne is like, well, you would want to go look at the reports and see whoever did that report and did that camera. Wait, excuse me? Get the fuck out of here. You want to go look at the police reports. And so, do you not know how you prosecute a case? You think Ann Taylor is going to show up at the Moscow Police Department or at one of the Idaho state branches and say, yo, Willis, get over here. Willie boy, I need to, where is Leslie Lehman's office? Does she have an office? Is it satellite? I need to speak with Leslie Lehman. She's on this report, okay? And I need to speak with her right now. Excuse me. Yeah. A potential witness in this case, right? I need to talk to her immediately. I need these videos that she supposedly, turned into the evidence room, and they don't have them, so I need to know where they are. You guys are kidding me, right? Like, that is what he just told her to do. He said, you need to talk to the person that wrote the report. And what?
About things like Ring cameras.
Yes, ma'am. Ring cameras and other sorts of private security systems that people may have had.
Ring cameras have a way of sending out a notice to Ring camera owners to check their data. Is that right?
I believe so.
Was that done in this case?
I do not remember if that was done or not.
Excuse me, you guys. You don't remember if that was done in this case? How many cases have you worked, son? How many quad homicides have you done that you're going to sit here and say, I don't know if that was done in this case? You haven't been doing anything. We've been checking all the reports. Your name isn't on Dick. What have you been doing? You should know this case inside and out. You should want to know everything that is being asked of by that defense attorney. You should want to know everything that they're asking for. How do you not know? I don't even know that answer. Between I don't even know that answer and Shaggy, it wasn't me. I don't. This is bad. This is bad. I don't even know if that was done in this case. Well, what do you know? What do you know?
Are you familiar with some of the Ring cameras or home surveillance videos in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
In particular, I think your affidavit talked about one on Indian Hills Road. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How did that camera come to your attention?
I believe Detective Vargas works for MPD. She contacted the residents at that, or the person who.
How does he know this off the rip? Knew immediately. Okay. So here we go. This is a very, very important video. And I said, where did this come from? That's funny. That's like, we have Moscow Police Department in a unmarked vehicle, like literally right where this is happening, like right at that time. Like I've shown multiple body cams. I've shown timestamps of when they've done certain things. And literally they said they were heading back before they got the guy in the sign. And it was like they were heading back to the station and they turned around. And so one of the ways that you would turn around is to go up and through that area. And versus just like making a full U-turn, you could like go anyways. So here we have Danielle Vargas, Danny, I think people call her. I don't know. She up out of the blue calls. How do you have the number of the resident to just call them up and say, hey, yo, can you look at your Ring camera and can you see if there's anything, at 2:30, 2:45, 3 o'clock, 3:15, 3:30. Like what?
Lived at that residence, and they provided that camera footage to Detective Vargas.
Do you know why she contacted them?
I believe it was part of just the video canvas, best of my knowledge.
So this is when you know it's misplaced or like out of place. You only contacted one person on Indian on that road. You don't have so let's say that you did actually see that car. You would then contact another house because you're trying to follow this vehicle. So that's what she's getting at. She just randomly killed this house. It's like, can I see her? How did she know they had, who are these people? But then if, okay, let's say that you do spot it, like, so then you'd want to like ask everybody, you know, that's like around there. It's a professor's house? Is it? Are we sure about that? I don't know.
Now, I want to talk about some of the specific businesses, and you mentioned that I'd be looking at a police report to tell me if it existed or not. As the case manager or the detective, are you familiar with the reports from other officers that may have talked about turning in videos?
Some of them, certainly not all of them.
How do not?
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that he be handed two defendants' exhibits. They are RR and SS. No, thank you.
This is everything that we've been talking about here at Truth and Transparency. Welcome.
One of the videos I want to talk about comes from the Red Star Coffee Company. Do you know where that business is located?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is it?
That's on Pullman Road and right next to the sneaker station.
So the Pullman Road, that's also known as Moscow Pullman Road, that within the city of Moscow?
Correct.
Okay. And if you look at exhibit RR, and if I can draw your attention to on page 2 to paragraph 9 and page 3, paragraph 9 continues over there.
Again, Officer Payne is on the stand, and he has grown himself a nice Idaho beard. All right, I'm going to show you something similar that he's looking at right now, okay?
Based on your review of that, am I correct in believing that the Red Star surveillance video was collected and given to Moscow Police
Oh, here are one.
Department?
It reads that way, yes, ma'am.
Where is it?
I do not know.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I want to show you something that he's looking at right now. So here we go. I'm going to use Hatcher the projector to show you guys what something that he would be looking at. All right, so hold on, let me make sure that, okay. All right. So here we go. This is how they usually read. So when she's like, look at the first paragraph. During the week of March 16th to the 20th, I, Corporal Andy of the Idaho State Police, and Detective Brittany Clark of the Idaho State Police went to numerous businesses in Bonners Ferry. Okay. And it was I requested videos from March 12th, and he did the request at 12 p.m. To March 13th to 12 a.m. The businesses and the dates I received the videos is listed here. Okay. And so you would come across something like this. It's saying the date. On March 17th, I received video from the following businesses: CarQuest, Les Schwab, North Idaho Family, Mountain Springs, Food Mart, Bonners Ferry Quick Lube. And then on March 18th, I received video from the following businesses: Boundary Electric, Dick's Oil, Mr. Suds, Napa on March 19th, and so on and so forth, okay? Just like this. All right? That's how I call little Leslie. Stupid bitch. Anyways, this is what he's looking at is something like this. Supplemental, a report. Now, let's go back to this. And now let's show him talking about it.
Who do I ask? Where it is?
That would be through the evidence custodian and MPD. That'd be my best direction for you.
So I need to go to the evidence custodian and ask him to bring all of the videos out so I can watch them all to see if that one exists.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me?
How many hours of videotape do you think have been collected?
A lot.
Thousands?
Yes, easily.
Okay, now let me show you how Idaho State Police work. Okay, ready? You're going to love it. At the bottom of the report, this is what it looks like. At the bottom of the report, it's going to say, a working copy of all of these videos have been copied to the network drive, and the original hard drives, thumb drives, or disks have been booked into evidence. Okay? Do you see how none of these have tags on them though? Like CarQuest, okay? They gave me 1 TB hard drive was recovered or received from Tom. Les Schwab. Do they say are they tagged any which way? They say like, this is evidence, this? No. But when Payne wants to sit here and say that he doesn't know, there's a working copy. A working copy is what they work off of. So a working copy. So Idaho State Police is how they do it. So a working copy of these videos has been copied to the network drive. This is for all of them to look at. All right. And then the original hard drives, thumb drives, all that stuff, that's been booked into evidence. So they make a copy of it, right? So they can do their work off of it. That's how Idaho State Police works. So you're going to sit here and tell me the people that train these people in Moscow Police Department, they're not doing it the same way like this? Or if you're going to have an ISP person that's part of the command center, that they're not going to say like, hey, this is how we do things. This is how we handle big ass murder cases. Like, this is a murder case I'm showing you guys. This is murder. This is just one person murdered, right? Y'all dealing with 4. But he doesn't know where you can find anything. There's a working file.
Detective Payne, I want to look at Defendant's Exhibit SS now. Don't put R away. I think we might go back there in just a minute. But SS, if I can draw your attention to paragraph 1.
So paragraph 1 is like looking at like the first thing I showed you, like the narration of it.
Would I be correct in believing that I should be able to have a videotape from a place called Monday's Machine?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's Monday's Machine?
I don't know where Monday's Machine is, ma'am. It does not sound familiar to me.
Can you see the address that's also listed in paragraph 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that help you know where Monday's Machine might be?
It'd be south of Moscow city limits, if memory serves, but that's the best I recall.
You don't know where this particular numbered address on South Main might be?
No, ma'am.
What is going on?
Well, let's go back to, let me ask you this. Who do I ask where that video is?
Restate what I did before is go through the evidence custodian at Moscow PD.
Let's go back to RR for a minute, and if you can turn with me to page 4. I'll draw your attention to paragraph number 21, particularly subparts B, C, D, and G. Do you see where I'm talking about?
This is the neighborhood canvas.
Yes,
And there, we're talking about 4 different businesses all within the city of Moscow. Is that right?
That is correct.
And those are on Main Street in Moscow. Is that also right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And if I read the first sentence in that paragraph, am I correct in believing that Moscow Police Department should be in possession of all of those videos?
It reads that way. Yes, ma'am.
Where are they?
I would have to direct you to the video that have been turned into the evidence lab at Moscow PD.
I'll show you what the report looks like after this.
I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to move from videos now, and I want to talk a little bit about affidavits and search warrants that you wrote. You,
Can I ask a question? You're not asking to admit these exhibits?
Your Honor, I haven't.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I haven't. The court has those in a pre-filing to put the court and counsel on notice of things we talk about. I'm not going to ask that these be admitted this way. Detective Payne didn't write them, but he's familiar with the contents, so I think I have your questions answered. Thank you.
He had no idea what he was
Talk
doing.
about affidavits and search warrants for a minute. Did you author affidavits in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you use affidavits you authored in support of search warrants to obtain information that you wanted to take a look at?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you author the affidavit that was used for the arrest warrant for Brian Koberger?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you rely on when you wrote these affidavits?
Be more specific.
Yes, let's focus on the affidavit for the AT&T records. There were 2 search warrants on December 23rd of 2022. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk about those search warrants and the app.
Okay, so there are 2 search warrants that were written up on December 23rd in connection with Brian Koberger's phone data, historical data, CSLI records.
The affidavit. First, the affidavit. What did you rely on in the affidavit you wrote for the first AT&T search warrant on December 23rd?
Here we go.
It was a conglomerate of interviews, data received from cell phones, my observations of.
Okay, right there. What? It was interviews. What interview did you possibly conduct that would have led to Brian Koberger? Because nothing has led to Brian Koberger from Moscow, Idaho. So what interviews? Like when we think of interviews, I think of, Dylan. I think of Bethany. Are you speaking of, like, when you talk about interviews, are you talking about, like, if you're interviewing a police officer, like from WSU, is that considered part of it? Like, I interviewed the WSU police officer, so, like, that's the interview, like, I'm referring to here, are interviews.
Some surveillance footage that was taking place, various other things. Go down the line. If you can be more specific on specific parts, I'd be happy to tell you what I'd like.
Okay.
Give him the search
There
warrant.
was a part of the affidavit where you talked about WSU officers identifying white Elantras.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a part of the affidavit where you talked about 2011 to 2013 Elantras, and then it expanded to 2016 to include the year 2016 Elantras.
Yes, ma'am.
What I want to know first is what you relied on to expand that search from 2013 to include 14, 15, and 16.
That information was provided to.
Okay, so this is going to be important because basically, I don't know this, but my logic is telling me that in order to get the second warrant that day, they expanded. That's when they went back and said, here, will you take a look at this? Allegedly, that they went back to somebody and said, hey, could this possibly be a 2014, 15, or 16? Remember, I told you guys all about this. There's no way that you're mistaking a 16 for an 11 unless this footage is like you can't even tell if it's a car, because there are noticeable differences, like the make. So what I gathered from this is that she's asking this specific question because he changed it because he couldn't get it. And so so that means he would have taken this back to whoever and said, hey, could this possibly be this year? So did you just change that, Payne, on your own and just say, okay, well, okay, they really mean this too? Like, because in the PCA, he says that he talked to an FBI person, right?
To FBI Special Agent Imel, who's a vehicle identification specialist. He used snapshots from the previously mentioned surveillance videos, and that was his determination on the types of vehicles we should be looking for, rather the year range we should look for. It would be in his report, would be more specific, but that was what I based the affidavit on, that portion of it.
Always. Okay, so right there, listen to that. That's interesting to me. How he words it.
Mentioned surveillance videos, and that was his determination on the types of vehicles we should be looking for, rather the year range we should look for. It would be in his report, would be more specific, but that was what I based the affidavit on, that portion of it.
Always.
I understand as far as when we get to 2013, but when we go beyond that, what did you rely on to get beyond that?
It would have been his input as an expert in vehicle identification. That's what.
Okay, part of your affidavit talks.
Okay, he doesn't answer the question. And she lets it go because it's enough for her to realize that, okay, we got him there. Like, she's done this. This is not her first rodeo. Okay. He says he doesn't answer the question. You understand that? He doesn't answer the question. He gave you a type. Okay. You just gave a name. And now what basically Moscow has done here is they've totally said, here you go. Either the FBI is going to bail us out or the FBI is going to be like, are you insane? We're not testifying to any of this shit. We didn't do this. You get like, that's what's about to happen here. Either the FBI, it's like, hey, Moscow and the feds are going to help each other out, or are we going to dismantle this relationship because what the hell did y'all do? You know? But he doesn't answer that question. And I knew it the first go around when I was watching. I was like, he just totally, that was evasive. That was ambiguous. That tells me you ate. Holy shit, there's a Frank's hearing coming. Because y'all lied. Y'all lied. You lied.
Talks about WSU officers finding vital objects. And I believe there was an officer that you had some communication with. Do you recall the date you had that communication?
I do not recall the date.
Okay, so after I've done a lot of research I went back to a video that I did. Now, you guys, follow me on this. The lead investigator testified today that he did not know that the people at WSU, within 20 minutes of each other, came across the same vehicle. Okay? One that was on foot, basically, and one that was, querying and, looking at basically what I was trying to tell you guys before is if you bought a parking pass type of thing. All right. These two officers find the same vehicle within 20 minutes of each other. Officer Payne sits up here on this stand today and testifies that he did not know that they found that car on 11/29. And he did not know this until 12/20, December 20th. That means you're going to sit here and try to tell me, you want me to believe this. You want me to believe that, then who did the WSU guy give his information to? You think he called into the tip line? Did he call the tip line? Who did he give his information to? And that should just tell you on how horrible their communication lines are then. If it just fell. That's what Judge thinks. This stuff just fell through the cracks. The fuck? Go work for fucking Delphi. Fall through the cracks, my ass. If it would have in fact fell through the cracks, all right, then let's think about this. November 29th. This is really important because did the car come first? That you knew that Brian Kohlberger had what? Did the car come first or did the IGG come first? Remember, this is something that Jay was always asking. Did you guys get onto my client because of tracking down this? We don't even know how you got it, even on a white Elantra, but the car, or is it the IGG? What came first? Because the PCA makes it seem like there was not even IGG involved, right? And so And if the IGG came first and you got the tip Brian Kohlberger right, then you would have already known that what he drove, right? You don't need frickin' Frack telling you what he drove, right? So now the question's going to rely on is when did the tip Brian Kohlberger come? When did the feds first say the name Brian Kohlberger? And that's what I've been asking for since day one. That's what I believe Ann Taylor. Does Ann Taylor even know that answer yet? Does Ann Taylor even know that answer? Because if in fact Payne did not know until December 20th, then how are you following Brian Kohlberger before then? How are you following him in Colorado and then in Indiana? Like, what? You guys, this is even more fucked up than you guys could even imagine. But I'm trying to like break it all down to like just keep it. I'm trying to keep it so that Boston's over there. She's like, yeah, layman me up, man. Dumb it down from Atlanta. And what I'm saying is that Ann Taylor is trying to reconstruct a timeline that they said that they did their investigation. Like on this day we went and got these things. On this day we went and got this. And on this, like, so you put this all together. And when you put this all together, it's like, ta-da, here's our, this is how we got to Brian Kohlberger. And it makes perfect sense. But if you're telling me that you guys' lines of communication are that bad, right? That on November 29th, if they came across him on November 29th and you didn't know about it until December 20th, wait till you hear what he has to say, December 20th, then you're going to have to put a delay on everything like that. But yet you got to Brian Kohlberger in 7 weeks. Get fucked. That didn't happen. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. This is why Jay was saying what came first. You know what I mean? Because I think Jay said that back in the day because it's like y'all made it seem like you truly didn't use IGG at all. And then just like at the end, it was like, oh my God, well, that's crazy because we just did all this IGG work and holy shit, look at this. Today, they're speaking a totally different tune than they were back when Santa needed the IGG to be so hush-hush that it was like, we all know that you guys work backwards, but today, the way that y'all are talking is like you didn't work backwards. That's what I think is hilarious.
Did you have some messaging system exchange with this officer to talk about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the only means of communication you had with this officer?
No, ma'am. I believe I spoke to him on the telephone as well.
When you spoke to him on the telephone, how did that relate to the date of the messaging?
It would have likely been, if memory serves, it would likely been that same day.
Okay. Does December 20th, 2022 sound familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Holy shit.
And so this conversation with this officer from
You guys watch Santa's reaction. Watch Santa's reaction to him saying December 20th. Okay, I'm going to rewind this just for a second. Just watch this. There's Santa. Look at Santa right now. Okay, here we go.
messaging system exchange with this officer to talk about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the only means of communication you had with this officer?
No, ma'am. I believe I spoke to him on the telephone as well.
When you spoke to him on the telephone, how did that relate to the date of the messaging?
It would have likely been, if memory serves, it would likely been that same day.
Okay. Does December 20th, 2022 sound familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Holy shit.
And so this conversation with this officer from Washington, it related backwards to when he noticed an Elantra. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
But when he noticed it, you didn't know about that yet. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so you don't know about him or talk to him until December 20th, 2022, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So then I have a question. So there's records then. Some records exist of these people, the WSU people, they were asked to be on the lookout, right? And so there has to be some type of records of when they, of why how did he come up with 1129 is when they actually found them. So now, do you understand why this is important? Because now they're pushing it up to make it seem like in the PCA, it's like we found that then, and that's when I knew about it. You understand? So in the PCA, does Payne say, oh, and I didn't find out about this until December 20th? No. He makes it seem like they found out about the vehicle, WSU, on 1129 when they found it. Okay? That changes everything. That literally changes everything. Like, because then we're going to have to go back to this. So you all didn't know that Brian Kohlberger drove a white Honda Elantra until December 20th? But yet y'all are following him through Colorado into Indiana, getting pulled over.
In your affidavits, did you rely on cell phone information and cell phone location information?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you work with cell phone records yourself?
No, ma'am.
Did you see cell phone records yourself?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
When was the first time you saw cell phone records that were attributed to Brian Kohlberger?
I do not remember what date that was.
Well, maybe you can give me an estimate. We know on the 20th, you're talking to WSU about an observation from a month before. And we know on December 23rd, you're asking for AT&T warrants for information. Can you narrow it down? Sorry, Judge.
Right here, full moment.
In your affidavits, did you rely on cell phone information and cell phone location information?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you work with cell phone records yourself?
No, ma'am.
Did you see cell phone records?
He didn't work with cell phone records himself.
Yourself.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
When was the first time you saw cell phone records that were attributed to Brian Kohlberger?
I do not remember what date that was.
I do not know the first date that I ever worked with cell phone records that have to do with Brian Kohlberger. But yet Santa Claus said that they were ready for trial. They're ready for trial, y'all. This is trial. Here's trial. This is what's trial. This is your trial. This is insanity. He does. I don't know. How do you not know that?
Well, maybe you can give me an estimate. We know on the 20th, you're talking to WSU about an observation from a month before. And we know on December 23rd, you're asking for AT&T warrants for information. Can you narrow it down? Sorry, Judge.
That's a yes. You can, you just want to get the record. Yes?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
So between those 2 dates, does that help you identify the first time you saw cell phone records related to Brian Kohlberger?
Memory serves, the first time I saw any cell phone records related to Brian Kohlberger was after we received the return from the first search warrant.
Just to be sure I'm tracking with you, when you say the return from the first search warrant, we're talking about the first AT&T warrant.
Yes,
Is that right?
That's correct.
And in that warrant, you were seeking 48 hours worth of records. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I call those the 48-hour records, we'll both be on the same page.
Yep.
All right. You wrote your second AT&T warrant for a much longer period of phone records that same day, December 23rd, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
How far ahead of that warrant did you see the records?
It would have been upon the receipt of the 48-hour records that came in from AT&T. Immediately after receiving those, I began writing that second section of the second AT&T warrant for the longer period. If that makes sense.
It does. So you get these records and you take a look at them and you start writing your warrant. Is that right?
The records were provided to FBI Special Agent Balance, who began deciphering them. I'm not an expert in cell phone records.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you.
So, no, ma'am, I'm not. So He was the one who was conveying that information to me so I could understand what it was.
So do you get the records and then get them to him somehow?
Yes, ma'am.
The records do they go directly to Balance?
I do not recall what the distribution was on the return itself. I do not recall that.
Or
Okay, he's so full of shit. He is so full of shit. You see that lip? He's a lie. He's lying. He's lying right here. These warrants are so close together in time. That's why it was so hella important that Anne was wording these questions this way, because then when Ray comes up, he's like, you'd have to at least, 3 hours, and that's if you know what you're doing. That's even, he said half a day. Half a day. He's Payne, in my opinion, just lied right there. Okay.
you and Balance exchanging emails about these records?
No, ma'am. Not that I remember.
How did you get them to?
We were co-located at the time. Detective Balance was at the Moscow Police Department, about 30 feet down the hallway.
Are the two of you exchanging text?
So he's saying that we didn't have to exchange any emails, okay, because Balance was in the Moscow Police Department. He was working right there with me. He's down 30 feet from me. So everything that we did verbally. So it's like, we're like working on this project together, And so why would I be texting him, or why would I be calling him or emailing him? Like, he's right here. So that makes sense to me. Like, you don't need to do, like, okay. Well, then wait for what Anne has to come up with next year. So he's saying that he's working with him in Moscow at the MPD, that they're 30 feet from each other. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's up.
Text messaging during this time?
I do not remember if you texted during that time.
I may have a record that would refresh your memory. I'm certainly not seeking to have these admitted, but I'd like to hand him some records to see if we can refresh his memory. Do you recognize what's been placed in front of you?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. Does reading the content of some December 23rd messages refresh your recollection about participating in text messages with Nicholas Balance?
It really does not, ma'am.
Will you look at, there's 3 separate stapled documents. Will you move that one and go to the next one?
Still on December 23rd?
Yeah.
Love this. This is amazing. God damn it, Anne.
I do vaguely remember that
Okay.
exchange, the one at the top of the second.
Okay.
Is that the one that starts with you identifying yourself?
I hope that
No, ma'am, it starts with the message says, group text for this weekend, Maria, Nick, Ed, Brett, and Darren.
You look at that third one.
Did you just hear what she said right there? Does that start with you identifying yourself? Wait, do you guys know what that means? Does that start with you identifying yourself? That means when you're identifying yourself, that means I don't know you, you don't know me, or I'm like, hey, what's up? This is Lana. Hey, this is my number. Is that with you identifying yourself? Are you sitting here telling me that he identified himself to? Did you guys catch that? Because I was just waiting to fucking drop this motherfucking bomb. Listen. Don't pay attention to the group text. Listen to what she just asked him. She says, "Oh, is that with you identifying yourself?" First identifying yourself. These are all from December 23rd. Y'all, come on. You know what that means, right? I don't know you. You don't know me. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Nick? It's Payne. It's my number. Throw me up in that group. I'll replay it for you guys here one more time. Listen to what she showed him December 23 messages.
I do vaguely remember that
Okay.
exchange, the one at the top of the second.
Oh,
Is that the one that starts with you identifying yourself?
I hope that
No, man, it starts with the message says, group text for this weekend, Maria, Nick, Ed, Brett, and Darren.
You look at that third one.
Oh, what's the third one?
Seems vaguely familiar.
How many murder
So,
cases are you working right
Just so
now?
I'm clear then, Nick Valance is at Moscow Police Department when you're getting, on December 23rd, when you're getting these 2 warrants. Is that right?
If memory serves, that's correct.
Okay.
If memory serves, that's correct. So just so you guys know here, this guy's working, he said 30 feet down from him, right? He's 30 feet down from him, and yet we're texting each other to say, you know, when you first introduce yourself, right? And then in a matter of 1 minute, Payne changes it and says, if memory serves me correct. Before it was, no, we were there together and we were working on it, and he was 30 feet down from me. Okay. And then she just straight up showed you text messages from December 23rd where you're introducing yourselves to each other, right? And then she just says, well, so this is, but y'all are sending text messages to each other like, okay. Well, we'll see how this, we'll see how this plays out.
Well, you told me that you're not the guy who understands how to interpret these records. Do you know anything about cell phone towers?
Very little, man.
So when you wrote the second AT&T warrant, you have possession of Brian Koberger's call detail records or AT&T records. Damn! But you don't know what they mean, so you're relying on somebody.
Actually, hold on. I want to answer that. No. He's saying that, no. When she said, oh, is that when you introduced yourself, it was from the first packet. And then he flipped it over. And so that's what she didn't know what order he was looking at them. So I'm telling you, they introduced themselves to each other on December 23rd via text messaging. So whether it was, I could have talked to you for just a second down the hall, and then I just say to you, oh, hey, what's up? It's Payne. Okay. Like, hey, this is my number. Okay. They're lying. And she just gave him a little dose. Just a little dose. I think. Enough to play a little psyche game saying, dude, we have these. You do know that, right? We do know the. Do you know that we have these, right? Crazy. Just crazy.
Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Who all did you rely on?
Mainly it was Detective, or students, Special Agent Balance. He was my main point of contact around what was going on.
Okay. In fact, in your affidavit for the second AT&T report, there's a couple of maps in there. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And one of them has some video camera information. That's the first map. Where did that come from?
I do not recall if you have a copy of it. I can refresh my memory to tell you.
I bet I do.
And Bill Thompson wanted to go to trial. And Bill Thompson wanted to go to trial with his lead investigator. He don't know dick. Steve
I have all these
Gonsalves.
marked
Are you
defendants.
watching, Stevie? How do you not know your case inside and out as a lead investigator? This is embarrassing and this is sick. This has nothing to do about Brian Kober. This has to do about a case, sir. And you don't know anything.
Are you referring to there's 2 maps, the WSU focused map you're referring to? It's completely washed out on this copy. I can't even see where it is.
It's hard to see, isn't it? What I want to know is what you relied on to get that first one that talks about WSU and the cameras of WSU. Where'd you get that?
Yes, ma'am. So Special Agent Rob Hilly with the FBI was also co-located with us. He was tasked with analyzing that video from WSU and the surrounding area. So it was a
How did you get
conversation between he and I, pointing out locations where the car was likely seen on surveillance footage. And that's what I relied upon to create that map
How did you get it?
So you created that map.
through PowerPoint, I believe, ma'am. Memory serves.
You saved your work on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go to the next map. That one would appear to be a trail or a path from south of Moscow back towards Lewiston or back towards Polk. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get that map?
Same thing. It was just created using open source satellite imagery, and I think it was PowerPoint.
Did you create that?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get the information to draw that trail?
So that was used from the cell phone records referred to me by Special Agent Balance on his interpretation of possible places where someone could have driven between the location that it starts there and then back to Poland.
So you did this on some open source mapping, not anything from Nick Balance creating a visual for you.
No, ma'am. I did view a draft report from Special Agent Balance to help me conceptualize this, but it did not look like this map.
Where's
What?
that draft report?
It is, best of my knowledge, it's already been provided to the prosecutor's office through the FBI channels.
Is this the lengthy cast draft report or is it a different draft report?
Well, it would have to be the draft cast report. That's the only cast report I'm aware of from Special Agent Balance.
Now they're just making up all this other crazy
So on
crap.
December 23rd, are you saying you looked at this cast draft report to make that map that went into your affidavit to get the second set of records?
Yes, ma'am.
The one that was given to us in July of last year?
I don't know when you got it.
How many versions of that cast draft report have you seen?
I've only seen that one, ma'am. That's the only one I'm aware of.
And from the FBI, we have Agent Balance and Agent Hilly at Moscow Police Department with you. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
and all of this work is done with verbal communication, is that right?
The majority of it, yes, ma'am.
And Nick Balance's cast draft report.
Correct.
And I think Special Agent Imel's vehicle identification.
Yes, ma'am.
What? Verbal? So there's no paper trail.
Let's talk about what you were seeking to get in this. Well, let me ask this before I leave the second search warrant. Is there anything else you
He's so screwed with that answer. He's so screwed. He's so screwed. There's just, you know how sometimes you like, Ann Taylor was so caught off guard there. That's why she had to say it one more time for him to say, like, you know, when you ask questions because you expect the answer that you think that you're going to get because you've done your research, you've done your homework. And right there, that's an answer that I don't think that Ann Taylor was expecting to hear. Okay. So much so that it's just like, holy shit. Like one of those moments. And like, that's my take. Again, I could be totally wrong. But that's a moment right there where she's like saying, okay, so let me get this straight. Because I believe that cast, like that wasn't even done yet. So I don't even know what he's talking about because you couldn't have possibly made what you said that you made in order to get the second search warrant. That's why she's just like, okay, so you and Nick and the other FBI guy, Emil or whatever his name is, the guy that did the picking of what year the car is, y'all are there together at the same place, right? On the 23rd of December. Okay. Who the fuck is manning a goddamn thing in Pennsylvania? I'm just curious. Who from Idaho went to PA? Anybody? Did anybody from Idaho go to Pennsylvania? Like, how did that all work? You guys. So does this mean that Payne wasn't in Pennsylvania? Because Payne's in Idaho, or did he like catch like a charter? He take an FBI plane. I have no idea, right? Because then how do they get that sample of this garbage the same day? Remember, we were always talking about this. how do you get the garbage back over to Idaho the same day that you got the trash? Like, how's that custody that chain of you guys? Dude, they are just teleporting themselves everywhere. This case. They must have brooms and they can fly on their brooms or something, like, because this is insanity. If they can do all of this, that's why I said in the beginning, I said either this is flat out corruption and this is a railroad job, or these detectives and anybody that was involved in this case, hands down, they need to be given all purple medals. Just give them everything. Fuck, give them $1 million a piece. Because what they managed to do in this short amount of time is just unbelievable. Like, when I say it's unbelievable, because I think it's physically impossible. Physically, humanly impossible. Truly. And so I'm like, dude, hey, these people need to just run the United States of America, because there's never going to be no one's going to commit another crime on their watch. All right. Because this is record speed. This is record. I mean, fuck. They're teleporting. And I think that's gonna come out. Twisted tail. I'm telling you, Moscow Police Department is teleporting themselves everywhere. FedEx that garbage. I mean, anybody could have got. I mean, that could have been anybody's DNA. I think Ann Taylor was just like, I can't believe the answer that you just gave me, in like a good way for her down the road, but in a way that she was just like, wow, like, I wonder. You guys, they're trying to explain why there's no, because everyone that you need to understand this. There's no emails, okay? There's no, obviously, worth a damn text messages. There's no communication. So how are y'all doing this? How did you work with? How did you consult with anybody? You know, and here he's like, well, I didn't have to do anything because they were just sitting right next to me. They were just 30 feet down. Wow. Okay. And where was this other guy? He was just there too? The night before Christmas Eve. Interesting. He's okay.
You relied on to obtain that second search to compose your affidavit.
Like I said earlier, we relied on cell phone records from surviving roommates as well as the victims. We relied on interviews with the 2 surviving roommates that were present at the time. We relied on the surveillance footage, cell phone data.
This is the first time that we're hearing that they relied on the interviews with both roommates. That's a first. Okay. They said that they relied on DM's statements and then the records of both of their phones. But never once have we ever heard before today that they relied on Bethany's statements. It was Dylan's statements, unless you're going to count her statements about Xana and Ethan being at the fraternity. So that has not this. What statements from Bethany and Dylan were in these search warrants? Because the warrant that you arrested him has nothing that Bethany said. Bethany just said that she saw Ethan and Xana at Sigma Chi, correct?
I'd have to go paragraph by paragraph, but that's what jumps to mind.
Of those things, are you relying on other people's work to put that all together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'm ready to talk about the things that same day as the first one. And was there anything else from AT&T that you saw or relied on to get the second one off the ground?
No, ma'am.
And in the first AT&T search warrant, are you aware that part of the request was for timing advance reports?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, that also appears in your second search warrant request, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And not only do you ask for the timing advance reports from AT&T, you asked for them from several other companies, correct? Verizon's version of it, T-Mobile's version of this kind of timing advance report. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When was the first time you saw AT&T's timing advance?
I do not recall when I first saw them.
Where is it?
To the best of my knowledge, all that information from those returns has been provided to the prosecutor's office.
If I tell you I don't have a timing advance report or any from the other phone companies, where do I look for them?
I would direct you back to the prosecutor's office. Everything that Moscow PD received, in that realm, we have turned over to my knowledge.
But you know you've seen this report, is that right?
I do not recall if I've seen the timing advance reports. I'd have to see what it looked like to know if I've seen it.
Do you know what it is?
Not particularly. I'm no expert.
Okay. You wrote the search warrant though, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how did you get the language for that if you don't know what this is?
So there's no secret that I rely heavily on people who are very highly educated in these topic areas to write the search warrant. So that language was likely conveyed to me through people who know much more than myself about cell phone data.
Who are those people?
Like I said, FBI agent Balance and Detective Mowery were probably my two main points of contact for helping me with that language.
They're toast. We heard Mowery testify last week. He doesn't know I didn't do any of this. He said he wasn't involved until afterwards.
During the course of your investigation and work on
Mowery wasn't involved until April. Okay. We have to now go back and listen to what Mowery said, right? Because what the hell is Payne talking about? Because one of these guys is lying. Did Payne not listen and watch his testimony? Right? I mean, either I've completely lost my mind and I just need to stop, or like, I mean, the easiest thing would have been to just watch last week, right? So that you know what that guy's testifying to. But here, Payne just comes out and he's over here pointing the finger at this guy. And then Mowery was saying, I didn't do this stuff. He relied on experts to write the PCA. It was groupthink. It was groupthink. You guys, we knew that it was groupthink. But I guess my question here is, and I think it should be all of ours, is why didn't the feds just take the case? Why didn't Moscow Police Department just give up the case? Does this have to do with money? How much money did y'all make? You know what I mean? How many hours? We're trying to get our hands on how many hours went into overtime and all that shit. How much money did y'all make off of this? Because I think y'all made a shit ton of money. Ton of money. And I think the university be kicking it back a little bit. I think the university was like, y'all gonna get an arrest? We'll see what happens with these donors. Somebody's kicking somebody money. But what if the feds were doing all the work? I mean, let's get balance in here. Let's get Nick up in this bitch. Let's get Emil or whatever his name is. Let's get all these people, like, come on. Like, the work's wrong. The work is 100% wrong. The work is wrong. The work either has been tampered with, the work's either been deleted, or it's piecemeal, then who knows what the fuck it's from. But I believe that it's been deleted. I believe that the important parts have been deleted. That's what I believe. I believe after Cyray's testimony, 100%, that either the ship broke down at the same time every single time that you did it, or because he says, like, these people are very trained, like they know what they're doing. This isn't like, these guys don't make this type of mistake. So what the fuck, you know? And so what happens is that after that, when you like give them the data, who chopped it up and screwed it up? Somebody chopped it up. That's why everything's being piecemealed to the defense. And it's like, what the hell? Like, can you imagine getting back a search warrant return on data, and then the data's like, I don't know, makes up however many pages, and you only get like you get a third of it here and you get a third of it there and then you get a third of it here and you're just like, wait a second, all these dates at timestamps and now I got to put this to, excuse me? Like, you got to be kidding me. And it's not lost, you guys. Like, it's like legit. It's removed. And it's like it's like the cush part. It's like the most important part of it. And you can see if it happens like one time or, oh my God, okay, whatever. But that's not what happened in this case.
And the case we're here for now. Did you communicate with Agent Balance by email?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you communicate with other FBI agents by email?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that relate to the investigation of the scene and later the investigation of Brian Koberger?
Certainly, yes, ma'am.
Were those communications that assisted you in preparing affidavits and search warrants to carry out your duties in the case?
I do not recall.
But you recall the emails themselves
I recall sending emails to FBI agents, yes, but
And-
specific stuff.
and receiving them?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are those emails now?
All emails that Moscow PD is aware of have been turned over to the prosecutor's office.
Your Honor, if I can have just a minute.
Sure.
Now he's throwing Payne's throwing Bill underneath the bus right here. He's saying that we've given them everything. So here, this will be very, very interesting.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions for now, but I think you have a couple of exhibits on that front end. If you don't need them for us, maybe I'll take them back.
Well, hold on. Do you have any questions?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. If I can
They don't stand a
step in
prayer.
so-
They don't stand a prayer getting a conviction against Brian Koberger. They don't stand a prayer. This is their lead investigator. He doesn't even know what was going on in his own case. This is unbelievable. Like, we were looking for fireworks. We were looking for like a showdown. We were looking for like, yeah, I did all this stuff. I know exactly what I did. This is the guy, blah, blah, blah. This is the work I did. What we just saw here in the past
Settings?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
20 minutes is just, he just folded his cards.
Good work.
To your knowledge, has all the evidence in Moscow Police Department's possession been turned over to the state for us to discover?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you facilitated the defense visiting MPD to review the physical evidence in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Approximately how many times have you done that?
I had to guess, I'd say 6.
Now, let's talk specifically about this video surveillance. Explain to me the process for collecting video surveillance.
So in this investigation, the way that played out was we directed the investigators to go into the community and collect any available surveillance footage there was. Once they had done that, they were tasked with bringing it back to Moscow Police Department, placing it in the digital forensics lab, and then writing a supplemental report on where they collected that information. That was the process.
Do you know how many agencies helped in this?
That's ISP's process.
Certainly the FBI and the Idaho State Police. I'm not sure if any other agencies helped. I don't know.
Do you know approximately how many agents were out collecting video?
Easily over a dozen. I don't know the specific number, but
Isn't it true that investigators collected video surveillance from approximately 79?
Okay, so think about this, guys. That's like me telling you guys, I have moderators that moderate my channel. I couldn't tell you who they are, though. I have no idea who my moderators are. I got like a dozen of them. I have no idea who they are. What? Yeah, I get like 900, 1,000, 2,000 people in chat. I have like a dozen moderators, but I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what I tell them. I don't even know their names. God, get the fuck out of here. For the past 2 years. Like, get the fuck out of here. Are we supposed to believe, or if we do believe this, like, wait, what? Yeah, I have a dozen moderators. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But that's what it sounds like. Like I have a dozen moderators, but I have no idea who they are. I've been working with them for a couple years, but not a clue who they are. We're covering this huge case together, and I asked them to like, oh hey, blah blah blah, or hey blah blah blah. Now I couldn't tell you who they are. That's what this is. Like that's crazy to me. But that's what he wants me to believe. We have like a dozen people. A dozen, that ain't shit. Who gives a dozen? Okay, awesome. Like this is a murder case. This is what's consumed your life for 2 years. Well, going on 2 years. I how can you not feel for the families? Like, yes. How could you not be a family member and not be like, what? Hold on though. Let's take a look at Lawrence Mowery really quick. We gotta take a look.
I have a specific one a couple of them I want to ask you about. One is from Red Star Coffee Shop. Do you recall receiving that video?
Red Star Coffee Shop. Come on, guys, write it down.
And are you aware that it was booked in or brought in by Idaho State Police?
Oh, those chumps! Talk about it, Ann.
How
Fuck
would
them.
I find out about those videos?
I don't know. You'd have to go through the USB drives to find out what was given. I
Well,
was
you-
just given the mass USB drives. I was not given them by the people that were bringing them in for time. Given to them after it had been handed off to other investigators and other assistants that were helping the house.
Is there somebody else I should ask about specific ones to track where they went?
I don't know. I don't have that.
Excuse me, Idaho State Police brought this in. Oh,
All right,
was
give
it
me just a
fucking?
minute, Your Honor.
Was it that sugar tit? Was it Leslie Lehman, that sugar tit?
Thank you, Detective Mowery. I don't have any other questions for now, but hold on, the prosecutor might. Okay. And for you,
I don't know what restriction is. I don't know what to do with that file outside of, if I could possibly bring it into the cast is. I tried to pull it in as a combined session log, which is what I was trained to do. So I didn't get that. I didn't pull that file.
What were you trained to do?
is that file available on a discovery drive for me?
Provided to the prosecutor today.
Thank you.
You gave it to him today? Okay.
In the report that I just got today, there's a reference to another cast biz session and some screenshots. What is there?
I am a detective.
How long have you worked for Moscow Police Department?
I worked in Moscow for over 5 years.
Have you been a detective that entire time?
I have.
And prior to that, did you have law enforcement experience?
I do.
How many years total?
We have on 14.
Detective Mowery, did you take part in the investigation into the homicides on King Road?
Yes,
And what was your role?
a lot of different things. How to answer that.
Well, I can ask you about a couple of roles, maybe.
Sure.
Do you do any work with cell phones and cell towers?
I have taken training for cell phone analysis.
Was that one of the roles that you played in this investigation? All right. And the other area that I'd like to talk to you about is the collection of videotape evidence or surveillance evidence from around the community. What was your role in that?
So we gathered a lot of data, a lot of USB hard drives that came in. At one point, all of that was given to me so that I could copy it over to a server. So we got it stored back up.
Did you inventory it at that time as you got it in, I guess?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Right.
what's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. This is a blessing. I've been waiting to have an opportunity to say hello to you.
Oh, hi. How are you? Good. Well, it was
I
a
got a
blessing
lot
to
of
see this.
a lot of love and a lot of respect for you for the hard work, the dedication, and the way that you handle the community. And you even keep people like myself as a content creator in check, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I agree with you. I sat right here on your show and watched this hearing and just about blew my mind.
Straight up, right? It's just like, whoa. It's like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, at the end of the day,
yeah.
I want to do content, but it's like I better sit here for a minute and just let some of this seep in because I'm going to be just tearing up the guilters' asses so bad that maybe it's just going to look bad. It's just going to look bad. But, I've been through the system. I've been through all of this, heart and soul, personally sitting at that very defendant's table, wishing and hoping that I had a defense lawyer that was willing to actually believe things that I told them and things that I say. And it's hard to find that. And on top of it, to get an expert witness that walks in that literally could do better work than anybody working for the FBI could possibly do. They're probably reaching out to him for help. And now they want to try to discredit him, and he makes them all look like fools. I mean, I know when you're 5'2", it's hard to see over the testimony box there in the witness stand, but Cy Ray just put that guy so deep into a box. It was unreal. Unreal.
It was. And if anybody doesn't see that, then I have no idea what case, this isn't about, you think Brian Koberger, this has nothing to do with, take Brian Koberger the fuck out of the equation. This has to do about, this is about the truth. This is about what the hell did y'all do? Okay. You did your investigation. Okay, well, your investigation is shit. Your investigation is shit. Doesn't matter who's the suspects or whatever. What y'all did is just absolutely ridiculous, and it's not going to convict anybody. It's not going to convict Brian Koberger. It's not going to convict anybody. And just to me, it's like we just continue to, as I feel like as a nation, let this shit go. And it's like,
well, it's a sad thing because transparency is becoming non-existent in this very society. And it doesn't matter if we're looking at the justice system or even breaking down people's everyday lives now. People have a hard time telling the truth altogether. But now you're talking about an individual's life is on the line. This 28-year-old kid could be put into the ground for something that others cannot prove he did, or because people cheated the system to try and prove that he did it. And we're starting to see the beginning of this. You and I started screaming Frank's hearing at the very same time.
Yeah, I was like this is insane.
The minute you started saying Frank's, I'm like, Frank's hearing. And come on.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know if Judge knows what a Frank's hearing is. I'm sorry, but I just don't even know if he knows what the fucking Frank's hearing is. And just for
I hate to say it, he seems like he's lost. He really seems lost.
Yeah, and he's either not reading the documents or he's choosing to make it seem like these documents don't mean anything. I mean, this is flat. This is black and white here. This is absolute black and white. And he, at the end, made it seem like he doesn't. He's like, I got these guys saying this. It's like, wait, you have an expert up here that just told you all this, and you have two guys that just told you that they said, I don't know how many times, and they're not the experts, and I don't know, I didn't, and that just really kind of is like, he's like, well, I don't know what to take from this. It's like, what are you talking about?
I almost felt as though
what are you talking about?
Judge literally needed to say, okay, guys, in the middle of Ray, clearly stating what the issues are and the exculpatory evidence statement that he made. Judge should have immediately said, I need to take a sidebar real quick and talk with the defense and the prosecution. I have a gut feeling right now, we already know what's coming. We know it's either a Frank's hearing or a dismissal motion. So I think what we need to do is just go ahead and begin that process in chambers, because we know that's what's coming. So why are we going to beat around the bush here? Because it's already been proven. I mean, I hate to say it. Today was just another nail in the. Look at good old Billy Thompson not even wanting to talk over there anymore. Mr. Temper Tantrum he's got a pacifier right now. He's over there sucking on his pacifier. He's okay. But, it's really, you don't even want to stand up to talking. I've never had a prosecuting attorney not stand up in the courtroom to make their statement, ever. I think that's disrespectful.
I can't. I mean, it blows my mind. I could see if the other party's on Zoom or something. That's what I said. But to have Ann Taylor be standing up every time she's addressing the courts, then she get if they have a podium or whatever they have set up, and it's just then you see her. People don't even know who's talking. They think it's like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Who's talking right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how many times you have to tell people when they come and watch this, they're like, wait, who's talking? And it's yeah, because that dumb bitch won't stand up. And then her name's Ashley Jennings, and she's lucky that Ann Taylor doesn't take her to the fucking cleaners right now, because that woman has signed off on search warrants so she can kiss my ass.
It's coming, and it's crazy. I got to give, and a lot of people would hate me for this. I got to give Brian Kober props for sitting there confidently, calmly, and allowing it to me. I would have been jumping up and down, pointing the finger, yelling. I come across as pretty calm.
Put me out of my own.
I mean, it's dude, I've been sitting in this jail cell that's a 6x8 doing push-ups on my floor next to my toilet, eating this garbage, and you guys want to sit here and not even be able to hand over the evidence you're holding me on for 18 months? I think I have the right to yell at you now. I think I can point at you and call you stupid.
You know what? If she is pregnant, I think that's awesome, and she should sit. But I think that then Judge failed her and should have made that known, because people don't need to think that then. But if she is pregnant, then I'm totally cool with that. And I think that Judge should say, he should make that known so that people don't think that she's, choosing to do that. So if that is the case, I'm gonna ex parte letter Judge, so I could be on the record. I'm gonna put my letter.
I mean, that'd be a good thing to bring up, because some of us that are watching this are experienced on how this goes. And, I hate to say it from the background I come from, and I'm sure you know a little bit of my background, but I'm frustrated with what I'm seeing, because I know what it's like. And you've done so much of this research and work. You know what this is like. Judge could make this very simple. He could take away a lot of the stress, a lot of the pressure. Just speak up. Be transparent. Look and say, hey, I'm going to allow her this time to stay seated. She has an emergent or a physical deal going on here. You don't even have to say pregnancy. You can just say she has a physical deal going on here. So I'm going to give her some leeway. And then I'm going to let little old Santa over there throw his temper tantrums here every once in a while, because I know he's got a mental issue and he's going to get counseling when he retires. So we'll let that go ahead and happen this time, but, and I know I'm making a little bit of a joke of it, and it's kind of funny, but in all seriousness, we look at it, and some of us, it does frustrate, because this is real. This is every day across the country what happens to people that are going through the process of being tried for cases. And this one's just making a mockery out of it. It's making a mockery out of it. And it's sickening to watch.
Yeah. I mean, This is exactly what happened in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, but his lawyers didn't even motion for one supplemental discovery request. When I had to go through that case, it like broke my heart, man. I'm just like, Jesus, they didn't do fucking a damn thing, like nothing. Like to have a murder case and you literally, I could go through his whole discovery in a weekend. That just broke my heart to see that. And then to see this and this type of advocacy and this is how it should be. And when people want to say like, oh, you're backing a murder, it's like, we don't even know what the fuck happened. We're backing our constitutional rights. If you don't know what that means, then there's the fucking door, man. Go.
Well, and I'm on the same. I'm on the same thought process as you, because a lot of people take my past and they say, well, because you're an ex-convict and you've done time, you're only fighting for this guy because you don't want him to be convicted, blah, blah. No, I want justice to be handled correctly. I want the truth to be found, and I want the right person or persons to be disciplined for what they did, be held accountable. I am not advocating for guilty people to get away with crimes. That's not what I'm advocating for. We got to watch the system be legitimately transparent and do things correctly, and we're not seeing it. And it's unfortunate because, as you've proven through your research and backing, this county and the officers within it have a tendency of doing things incorrectly, whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know. But you're doing it. You're doing it. And here it is again. Look at that. I found the video, guys. I found it.
Yeah. And then when it's brought to people's, when something's brought to you, if you're a good person and if you just made an oversight, okay, but if you brought something to me and I'm working a case and you brought me something and you're just like, hey, look at this. Like, oh my gosh, how do we miss this? Holy shit, we have to make this right. Like, what's wrong with making something right? Like, that's what I loved about what Cy Ray said on the stand today. He's like, there's things that are fixable. Why aren't we just doing it the right? Like, people make mistakes. We're human. Okay, fix it. If we can find something, we fix it. Like you go to Walmart and you buy the wrong size. What do? You take your shit back to Walmart, and what do? They fix it and they let you have a different size because, like, okay, fix things. It's as simple as that. Like, you found something that's wrong, you take it to each other, so you fix it. Stuff can still be fixed. Or when you take it way too past the point, then then you can't come back, because now you become like a culprit. Now you become a problem because you didn't want to fix a mistake. And instead you wanted to railroad somebody. You know what I mean? But when things,
I agree.
Things are fixable until you take it to another level, and then they can't be fixed. And then you have to do what? Hide it. You're covering, those are choices that are made by human beings. And I think that those choices you should be held accountable for.
In your opinion right now, could there ever be a fixing to this?
I think Cy Ray was being so unbiased that if he says that something can be fixed, but you need the rest of the data to see if it's fixable. And I think that my personal opinion is that once all the data would be, if it was ever to be turned over, which I don't think it will be, because I don't think it exists anymore. I think it was deleted or tampered with and it's gone. But if it was something that could be, provided, I don't know if you can come back from it. I don't know enough.
I mean,
I would like to hope that you think that I guess something to fix it would be somebody coming forward and saying that if you don't have the evidence that you said that you did have, that we need to withdraw this, that, and the other, and that I think Ann was asking for him to have his preliminary hearing. Again, I don't know enough of that. I'd have to go read some law up in Idaho, but after I saw what they did in the Anan Syed case in Baltimore, a prosecutor, basically the reason a non-science free is because of a Baltimore prosecutor, and the fact that they changed some of the laws up there. But you just think that why would you ever get in the business of being a prosecutor, a defense attorney, and you can't, like, did you ever, like, do you remember why the fuck that you do what you do? At the end of the day, you know, you should be wanting to prosecute innocent people. You shouldn't want to be prosecuting a case that you shouldn't be prosecuting. So I just don't know how we don't see actually more amazing prosecutors, because you don't really have a skin in the game unless you're totally bought and paid for, which then you're all pony politics. So when people say, like, man, why don't you become a lawyer? I'm like, why the fuck would I become a lawyer? Like, where are these amazing lawyers that we see? Like, and people are like, I'll be a defense attorney. No, I'd rather be a prosecutor, because I would never take on a case like this. I would never take a case like this. So, like, who do you blame? Because somebody chose to prosecute this case. So as much as I want to, like, say, like, Payne and this guy and the rest of these fucking fucking police officers and agents, whoever the fuck did this shit, just like in the Karen Reed case, somebody chose to prosecute it. You know, the prosecutor has a chance to say, no, get this out of my face, you know, or come back with this, or, you know, the prosecutor has that decision. So Payne can't be like, okay, I'm taking this, you know, I'm arresting Brian Kober and I'm prosecuting him. You know what I mean? So,
yep. And that's where I absolutely agree with you, because on both sides of the line, if we try to fix this problem, one, I mean, law enforcement can say, well, all we did was collect the evidence and try to put it together, and now it's in the prosecution's hands and they have to prosecute the individual. Where if that's the case, the prosecutor should be able to know pretty much immediately, looking at what's coming into them, I think I'm going to avoid filing charges against Brian Koberger at this point until I get something more substantial and proven evidence before me, which would mean, well, the prosecutor did exactly what they should do to uphold the law. They said, go get me more proof and I'll file the charges and we'll go from there.
mm-hmm.
But now it's already into the prosecutor's hands. So now it's out of law enforcement's hands, because law enforcement now can say, hey, we just did our due diligence. We gathered the evidence. We submitted everything to the prosecutor. They made the choice to file the charges and prosecute this guy. We were just collecting evidence. Well, shit, you're both wrong.
I mean,
you know,
your lead detective is still putting a probable cause affidavit for an arrest, which is saying that you believe that this person committed this crime.
Right.
I mean,
and I'm screaming that.
I think that we need to go back to this. You know that a lot of these people go to school together. They go to law school together, right? So everybody goes to law school, and you don't know who's going to become a defense attorney. You don't know who's going to become a prosecutor, right? But if truly, like, think about this shit. Anybody that you've went to school with, you got people that don't like each other, and you got people that do like each other, right? And then can you imagine? So throw that into the mix and be like, oh, I hate that fucking asshole from, you know, even in school, I hated him. He's such a prick, or he did this, or he did that. So I've lost faith in the whole, like, prosecutor, defense attorney relationships, because you need those, you know? And I've lost faith that like, if you go back to, like, actually having that's called integrity as well. If you go back to having some integrity with that, and you can have your defense attorneys having relationships with prosecutors, I think that we'd be in a lot better shape as a whole with the country. But I lost faith in that. And that's why I used to love Law and Order, because Law and Order, Benson had a great relation. Like, all those people had great relationships. I don't see that.
Man, I was addicted to that show. Can you imagine a guy laying in the penitentiary watching? I'm watching Law and Order while I'm in prison. Everybody just looking at me like, "What are you doing, dude? Turn it on MTV. We got, you know." No, I gotta watch my Law and Order. I'm into this.
There's just
I agree. And that's the thing. I think when I was younger, I learned you shake hands, you look someone in the eye, and that's where you could build the trust, and you could see kind of what you're working with, who you're working with. You could look deep within them and know whether they were true or real or not. And now in today's society, first of all, people will shake your hand with the wrong hand and look you sideways. So you're right. The respect and the integrity's gone out the window. And I'm with you. I feel like now it's really diving into our justice systems, our investigations of the way we're investigating crimes, and it's getting harder and harder on a day-to-day basis to do things ethically and correctly, because if you do that, you kind of get stomped on, and somebody who doesn't do that way gets a step above you and ahead of you, and that's hard to kind of digest. But nobody in this case, we're watching a judge literally say he doesn't know if he has the power to do something in his courtroom. Wait, what? I've had judges that they're screaming, saying, "You're going to do it my way. This is my court," and it's like, this guy just said, "I don't know if I could do that." What? You're the judge.
Yeah.
You're the judge.
Yeah.
Like, who has more power than you, dude?
Who's he married to? Bless her soul. Bless her soul. That's all I gotta say. Bless her soul.
Well,
but
she's probably the one that tells him whether he can do whatever he's doing in the courtroom or not, because he doesn't believe he has the power.
yeah.
I don't get that. Like, I don't understand that. A judge that truly doesn't know that what he says goes in the courtroom. I've never seen that before. I've never seen it. Maybe you have. You could educate me. If you've seen it, you know it.
No,
I'm all open.
No, Ann Taylor called him out a little bit and was like, "I want you to make a decision right now. Like, show me that you can make a decision." That was like at the last hearing, and that's when he's like, "Okay, then I'm going to close everything." Well, guess what ended up happening? This wasn't closed, was it?
It's all open.
Yeah.
It's all open.
Like, it's like, so I think she just knows. I feel like Ann Taylor, she's been around, she's not.
Yeah.
Brian Colbert couldn't
She's
have got a
getting
better
stronger.
person,
She's getting
think she knows how to
stronger by
play
the
it.
day too. Well,
I think that
her
she knows how to
confidence
play
is growing by the moment. Like, it's growing. She knows right now she's in the dominant chair in the courtroom. I get that feeling. Like, I feel that way. I think she right now is the dominant voice in the courtroom, and
I think she has the winning hand. You know what I mean? I truly think that she has the winning hand. If you want to talk about a game that's, right now it's like Ann Taylor's up, in my opinion, going in the locker room 21-3. I think that you'd have to have a ridiculous second half here because I don't think that they're going to be getting evidence into the courtroom that they think that they're going to get in. I don't even know if we're going to have a trial.
Even Judge said that.
I don't even know if
it makes it to trial. Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, what are you going to try this man on? So it's.
Well, could you imagine? Because I have a gut feeling, and you could probably educate me. You're really good at this. If they go attacking that PCA, and then all of a sudden this PCA is non-existent, and I keep stating the only reason they have real and true Brian Koberger DNA is because of that arrest affidavit that got him cuffed up in Pennsylvania to where they could do the buccal swab. If you take that out of play, if you negate any of that DNA, it's gone. They have nothing. There's nothing left. I'm
going to go back to what I learned from Gabriela Vargas when she said that it's not protocol. Like, if we give you a tip through IGG, when you're giving a tip, you don't go and then get the DNA of somebody that they're related to test it. Like, that's not how that's done. So if I give you a name and I'm like, here, like how she was explaining it with the past cases that she's done, you then go and you obtain that person's DNA. You go and obtain Brian Koberger's DNA to then test it against whatever it is that you have, and to see that that's not how this happened, that they didn't do that. I find it hard to believe that Brian Koberger's DNA was on nothing. and we found out today that Cyrus, like, they were following him. They didn't need a search warrant to have this basically trap, trace, pen, fucking search warrant, because they were already like watching him. So when I hear that, that's not how you would have done that. Then I hear you saw the sheath later. I don't know if it's on any body cams because we don't know that yet. The defense firmly believes that was placed or planted. And as far as the sheath goes, but if all the things that you relied on to get your search warrant were in fact, if any part of it's not true, if you lied to get a search warrant, it becomes that's fruit of the poisonous tree. You're done. It's over. If the court deems it that, just like if you give a false confession because you violated my Miranda rights, right? I confessed. Well, guess what? If you put my confession and that you use that to A, arrest me, B, get search warrants, then to like search all my shit. That's why that's why they didn't use the whole DNA with when they went to they only used the DNA to arrest him. They didn't use the DNA to search his apartment. They didn't use the DNA on that search warrant with the I'm interested to know about the car, like his office. And it's like, why didn't you? You know what I mean? If it's just so golden. They just didn't want there to be any issues if, God forbid, if it wasn't okay. Well, I have way more important things. You guys use the cast on everything. And that's what she was getting out of these people today and last week is, what did you use to get your search warrants? Let's break this on down. What did you use? What did you use? And way I heard today is that Payne tried to explain that he used a document that, from my understanding, the defense doesn't believe existed. And so if that's the case, and it, when you break it on down, and because again, they're going to be doing, like they just said, like suppression hearings. They're going to try to suppress this evidence, and it's going to be through, it could be, you can have Frank's hearing. But I look back at like Ann Taylor she wanted the indictment tossed. Because why? Because what you guys told the grand jury is lies. You guys got a man indicted off of inadmissible evidence. Like this isn't admissible. Like this is shit evidence too, because even if we were to say, okay, it's admissible, your little mappy poo, you can just take it and shove it straight up your fucking ass because it's not real. That's not it. It's not factual. It's shit. It's junk. It's crap. And
I think the only honesty we got out of Payne
him.
today.
That's how they arrested him.
Payne was honest one time today when he said he got all his information from somebody else. Payne didn't get any of his own information. So it's like, I almost am screaming.
You don't think about this. Moscow Police Department, why the hell would you ever want to mess with if you want to make something a problem within your force, you would do what you just did, which was, I'm going to put Payne in charge of this from Moscow Police Department. That's going to be Chief Fry's call in your little good old boys town. And that's what you do. And you don't think there's going to be a hell of problems. That's why I said I wouldn't believe that some of these people on purpose that were pissed off that Chief Fry did that people didn't fuck around and be like, fuck you, watch me, because they're pissed. Because it's like, wait a second, I've been here for how long? Like, why wasn't Blaker the lead? Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. He has no experience. I don't care about your.
Yeah, what did he say? He had 2 years on the force and just a couple years in the military, right?
Yeah, he been in the military for 6 years, and prior to that, when this happened, he was with Moscow Police Department for 3 or 4 years.
So I mean, he's literally very. I mean, he's young. He can't have a lot of experience in anything, really. And you've got people legitimately that have been there far
He's
longer
never
than
worked a
that.
murder case in his life. We all understand
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, no, I feel Eddie's the lead. I mean, wow. I wish when I was committing crimes, I had a 2-year vet as the lead in some of my crimes. Please go ahead, investigate me. No, I don't
I
know.
mean,
And
Anne called him out. Anne called him out. Yeah.
well, I've had people ask me in my years of going through the system, have I ever at any of my court dates or trials heard the word exculpatory evidence clearly stated, not even just by the attorneys, but even somebody on the stand testifying to something. And I'm 47 years old. I've been doing this a long time. Unfortunately, thank God, not anymore. But no, I've never heard that word. Never. And I've sat in the courtroom for other people's hearings because, in Arizona, you don't get to go to court by yourself like this guy does, where you get to wear suits and have the whole court to yourself. You go with like 30 other people and you wait your turn to get up there. But no, I've never heard that. And this defense team is very strongly using the word innocent and exculpatory in this case. And that sends a lot of waves into my gut and my feelings because, I don't believe people would put their life careers at risk
You don't
for
need to.
this one quadruple homicide individual. Like, they're
No.
legitimately putting their reputations at risk for this. So
No, and I don't think, and think about it in the reverse way though too. You would think that something as serious as this, like, why would anybody be sloppy? Why is the FBI not saving work? Why? How is the FBI fucked up twice in this case? With the cast, with the identification, that's twice there, and then with the IGG. They did nothing to protocol. What the fuck?
yeah.
What the hell? And
But
if you think that the FBI is going to let Moscow Police Department blame them, then y'all have lost it. There is no way the FBI
Right.
is going to be like, yeah, this is all our fault. Get out of here. That's not happening. That's why I think this is going to be, I can't even believe these answers because they are totally putting this on the FBI. And it's like either the FBI is going to bail them out and say like, yeah, we did this. All right. Or the FBI is going to say, y'all can get fucked. We didn't do this. And no, that's not what we told you. And that's not how we said things. Or this is the material we gave you. And looking at our material versus what you then turned over to like them, you guys took half of the shit out. Or you guys are just, chopping that. Something's going to give here because I don't believe that the FBI is going to stand behind and say that they are this incompetent. Because if
No
they
way.
do, then let me tell you what's about to happen. If the FBI's that this is truly their work, guys, then you know how many cases are coming back in front of the courts? That means that cast is shit and it's coming out. It's going to be like the hair stuff that I brought to your guys' attention. When was it? A couple weeks ago. And how the FBI had to work with the Innocence Project. And it was 90% of whatever these 24 out of 26 agents were testifying to was incorrect. And it was wrong. And it convicted people. And those people should have never been convicted. And so now imagine this, that this cash shit that they've been doing is wrong. How many people have been convicted off of it? And how many people of these agents are testifying to wrong shit? And my guess is a lot. And so the FBI, I think they're going to have a decision to make. And it's going to be just let Moscow go down in flames and Brian Kober is walking, or the FBI can come out and explain what they truly did and how inaccurate what it is that they do. And now we're talking about a whole revamping of everything that's been going on over the past X amount of years. And that's what I think. I think that this case is something that's way bigger than any of us can imagine.
I think it even puts more than just the cast at risk because I think the IGG is going to get thrown into that mix as how long has this been utilized in incorrect manners and ways, and why are some cases really well, done, but some of these over here, like I just keep coming back to the way this whole Idaho 4 from the very beginning just kind of transpired. And I would have rather in a system, like I hate the idea of a quadruple homicide person driving all the way across the country, put a lot of people at risk. But I would rather a little more due diligence, a little more patience to really be able to provide the evidence upon arrest that convicts it. Because you and I wouldn't even be talking about this case right now if everything had flowed smoothly and they had every piece of evidence they claim to have that just really put this guy as the guilty person. It's shut, it's closed, here it is, it's over. We wouldn't even be talking about this anymore. We'd have been moving on from it, and we'd have been discussing other things.
Well, I think it's
But
time to now
there's too
talk
much.
about. I think now, with what we have been told, if people that have been following this case really, really closely, now it kind of makes a little bit more sense with some stuff. Brian Kober is not attached to any of these victims in any type of way, meaning he wasn't stalking them. There's no social media connect. He wasn't following any of them, right? But now let's go to the big thing that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the car. I want to talk about, I was waiting for that car to come back and have trace, have shit in there. And I think everybody was, right. And then it wasn't. And then what happened? Everybody made mistakes. I mean, everyone made excuses as to why that car wasn't lit up with blood or DNA, or, he straight up stabbed brutally 4 people. Okay. And then rushed in and got in his vehicle. Right. And then flew out of there all in a rush. Right. And so we are now sitting around a table and we take everything now in a totality. And I love using that word because that's the word that they use to us, that this is a totality. This is a complex case, blah, blah, blah. Well, your totality, you don't have totality. You have fucking dick. You don't have anything. You have a sheath with touch DNA on it. And now I want to talk about the sheath and where it came from and when it was truly there, because all of this other stuff it's striking out horribly, like to the point of like we're looking at planted evidence. We're looking at people destroying data. We got some issues here. And now this is maybe making sense as to why nothing is in that car and nothing was in the apartment. And he wasn't stalking people. And so it's like, it's looking more and more like the Karen Reed situation, which is a railroad frame job, right?
That's another doozy for sure. That's definitely another doozy.
Yeah. So it's the totality of their investigation is a dumpster. No, and then we all thought, here, I'm going to tell you guys, they didn't destroy that house because of the inside. They destroyed that house because of the data. You can't, how do you do a test now from inside the house, which could have potentially, do you not get good service in that part of the basement? The way that the roof was it tin on this part? Like, did you not get any good service if you were in, one of the bedrooms or in the bathroom or in where you guys are doing laundry? You wrecked that house, in my opinion. They wrecked it because the digitals is my personal opinion. And I think that's why Cyree was out there. I think he was out there answered and say, hey, let me bring in this, people to go through the house again for, crime scene, to take more crime scene photos or to like run your little, swabs all over or something like that. I think he was there to test out stuff with the house, with the phone, with the test run, with the test drive and all that crap. And I think that that's exactly how because you're going to say that Brian Kober was in that house, right? And even if he was there, but he didn't have his phone on, or he turned his phone off, or did he have it on, or what? Or then you say he was driving around there 12 different times. I mean, God knows what type of stuff Cyree's, has been doing, and I can just tell you that his work's going to be on a completely other level than anything that they did, which come to find out today, they're working with, they did 18% of the work. I mean, can you think about 18%? Think about if you got an 18% on your fucking paper, your test. Okay. Like, you can't, 18%. That's just so cringe. I can't even.
Yeah, when I heard that number, I literally had to stop and I wanted to think about that number, 18% for a minute. And I reflected back to exactly what you said. If I brought home a test score to my parents when I was young and said, hey, by the way, I got 18% right on my math test, my mom probably would have looked at me and said, so you didn't get anything right? Like, what the hell happened there? You know? So 18% of your work, if you and I went to work tomorrow and we did 18% of our work, we'd get nothing done. Like nothing. 18% of our work.
We all wouldn't have jobs. Nobody has jobs. So
Yeah. So
it's just wild.
you're
Wild.
taking a guy to trial on a quadruple homicide on what, 18% of your thought process and your work. Well, I mean, I don't know. And that, how much more evidence are we going to get into where as they start digging into it, they say, you know, we have this and this from that, but we don't have the finalized this, and that. Oh, well, it's because we did 18% of the work. You know, the whole case.
Mainstream media's still over there talking about stargazing, and I'm just like,
the totality of the case is now at 18%, and we are 21 months in. You know, we plan on going to trial. What would have happened if Brian Koberger said, you know what, for shits and giggles, I'm at risk anyway. Let's go to speedy trial. I'm either screwed or I'm not. Let's go for speedy trial right now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Where did you have 18% of the work? I mean, what are you gonna?
I would pay so much money to read those grand jury transcripts. I want to know what those jurors heard and saw, because we're 2024 right now. That grand jury was shown things in May of 2023. May of 2023. Shown what? Testified to what? What the hell did these people hear? Because it's not accurate. It's not right. And it's sad because those people know who they are that was on that grand jury. And if they're watching any of this, have we ever heard anybody like ever come like forward and say like, wait, hey, I was on the grand jury and I just watched the Brian Koberger hearing, and none of this is what I was. This is not why I voted to indict this man. So like, has that ever happened? Has that ever happened? Because could this be one of those cases where it's like, dude, I was on that grand jury, and if this is I would have never indicted this man. Y'all lied to us. Like, what if somebody was to come forward and say that was on the grand jury?
I don't think they're allowed to.
I don't even know what the rules are. I've never.
I don't even think they're allowed to, because they're sealed and they're secret. And,
no, I know that, but no, if you're watching this, you can watch this, so you see this, and so you're telling me that the grand jury can't go to the courthouse, and the grand jury can't go to the courthouse and say, hey, who do I talk to that was in charge of, I want to talk to Chief Fry's wife. Wasn't she seating the grand jury? I just watched all this stuff, these like last week and this week with these guys testifying. And the only reason I indicted Brian Koberger was on this, that, and the other. I mean, can you just imagine, like, it's.
I mean, that would, it almost needs to happen, because I think the grand jury way of indicting people is so bogus to begin with. It's literally bogus. It's the worst concept you could possibly have. Hey, we're going to throw everything at the wall as the prosecutor, and we don't have to defend any of this. If nothing sticks, it doesn't matter, because it got you indicted. So throw all that to the side now, because you're arrested, you're in jail, and we're taking you to trial. You know, whereas at least in a prelim, I have the opportunity as a defendant to put up a defense. I can argue your points. And if so many are so worried about the alibi, wouldn't a prelim have been the way you wanted to go? Because the prelim probably would have brought out an alibi. It would have brought out a defense. But instead, you wanted to go grand jury indictment to protect Bethany Funk. And this is all working out well. It's all working out well. I don't know.
Can you guys believe it if this would be the first case where somebody like literally comes out of the woodwork? I was a grand juror. I was a grand juror.
Man.
Like, do grand jury is sworn to secrecy for life? They are never allowed to talk about it or can be held in contempt of court. That is nuts. Like, to me, if you can do that to me, then I'm sorry, but if you lie to the grand jury, like, then what should happen to you for life? You should come on. Then I don't think police should have immunity to grand juries if you lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
come on.
I really
This
don't.
is insane.
But also, I mean, in a case like this, have you ever seen? Well, I mean, even on top
I
of like
I didn't
the
realize
place.
how late it was. I gotta get going, buddy. I didn't realize how late it was. I'm
Oh,
traveling.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I
didn't even
definitely.
realize. I could talk all night about this.
I appreciate you for having
Will
me
do.
on. This is really.
I'll message you and we'll set something up where it could be something where it's planned. But I could talk all night.
I saw the live and I'm like, I'm coming up.
Yeah, no, I love it. I wanted people to take it. We're going to be talking about that too. Those 17 phones. That's going to be another point of a talking piece. But thank you, Nova. Thanks for coming up and
yeah. Thanks for having me and get some rest. And I'm a big
Yes.
fan. I'm always watching, so I'll reach out to you again. And
thank you. And
much love and respect.
Thank you so much. And I saw you guys on Drunk Turkeys, so I'm a fan of Daniel's. I mean, we can disagree all day, and I hate to tell him, but I'm right on this, and he needs to start opening up his eyes a little bit. But I knew that
maybe
those
one day
were problematic.
Yeah.
So
thank you, sweetheart.
It's working out. But yeah,
it was
absolutely.
awesome.
We'll do this again, okay, hon? And thank you
appreciate
so much.
you.
Fan back. Yep. All right, guys. Hey, moderators, throw in his channel up there if we can just put that link in there. Good dude. Solid, fair, human. Love it. Donna M. Love it. Absolutely. I hate liars and thieves. I don't think anyone is that important to waste brain cells on to lie for. Yeah, fuck them. You know what, though? It's sad in this world, but they try to go for your weak spots as far as like blackmailing you or, hey, if you don't do this, then they always go for your weak spots. So as much as we say that I wouldn't lie for somebody or, these people, I think that this is not their first rodeo. And let's say that it's all on the up and up. Let's just say that's all on the up and up, right? And these are just like total oversights. We're just like, God, I really suck at my job. Like, holy shit. What do you think Payne did when he got home today? Do you think he was like, hey, honey, it was a great day at the office? It's a great day at the office. It's bad. Or do you think he got home and he was just like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? Like, oh my God. All right, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. On your way out, thumbs it up, thumbs it down. You have an opinion. Make yourself known. Moderators, love you guys. I am over and out. Again, see you on the flip side.